Aunque, um, uh, we're gonna start. Even I know in some of the rooms are just finishing, but I think. Okay, okay. Thank you. But I think it's good to start, or yeah. Okay, so I think this is a clear complementary plenary session. If we think in the last sessions, because we are gonna have the opportunity to share with David Llorente, who basically he is an entrepreneur in artificial intelligence applied to communication and journalism and so on, maybe more, but that's why he is here. So David is, and with a great passion for technology and innovation, researcher specialized in artificial intelligence. He has founded at least 4 startups and has worked in business development for leading companies in the sector in Europe and in the States. He is currently the founder and CEO of Narrativa, which is pretty well known in Spain, and I think his business is in many other countries using IA for communication. So thank you to attend our call, and the floor is yours. We have something like 40 minutes, and then, or what you want, but not more, and then we can open a dialogue with you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, first, thank you for inviting me. It was a real surprise when I got the invitation. I'm usually not in this kind of forums, but I'm really happy to share. Well, what I really want to share is my story and how my story has influenced also the industry. Okay, because when it comes to generative AI. By the way, generative AI is kind of a new term. We used to be a natural language generation technology company, but after ChatGPT, we all rebranded to generative AI. It's a practical rebranding because everybody understands and knows what is generative AI. But generative AI is very popular today, and there are a lot of misconceptions about what it is, which I'm not going to cover because I believe there was another session about that. But especially, I will focus on what is capable to do and what is not, and also how does AI, specifically generative AI, impacts journalism. So I'm going to tell you why I'm here. So when you look at this, it's just data, right? So people tend to think that, yeah, I'm very good at data, I can make calculations and so on. So this is game over because machines are a million times better at data. And if you think about journalism, there is so much content or news that are generated based on data, right? So this story you see here is one of the main market stories that the Wall Street Journal publishes every day. First version is fully automated, so no human intervention. And basically what it's doing is crunching 500,000 financial assets in real time, analyzing them, and then creating a story, right? The good thing, and please don't hate me yet, the good thing is that this is just the first version. So after it's published, the journalists keep editing it and keep adding things. Why it's published automatically? It's a very practical thing, a reason. Because you want to have the URL up there, you want Google to index you first, and you want to start media companies, in this case Wall Street Journal or the Dow Jones, want to start making money, right? So this is an advance of, or let's say, is one of the main reasons why people or companies do automatic content, because financial reason. And we were discussing before that usually journalists don't discuss a lot about that, but definitely I believe that if media companies will be in a best financial position, I think in general the profession will be in a better position. So you might be wondering, okay, that's very good, but who is using it? So these are just a few examples of few logos of companies that are actually using the technology, our technology. There are many more. We work currently with over 51 media companies around the world, from India, Saudi Arabia, UAE, all across Europe, Latin America a lot, and the US. Yeah, so it is not. It's not a maybe. It's not like something that might happen. It's something that has been happening for the last 9 years. As a highlight, I can say that the last general elections in Spain and the last regional elections, which they happened like I believe in 2 or 3 months. Within 2 or 3 months, they both were covered by our technology for the Spanish national broadcasting television. So. And that was a very big project, and I think this shows how in one day, actually in 3 hours, we generated over 70,000 news articles covering the results of the elections for every single tiny population in Spain. So again, it's a reality, it's not like science fiction. In 2017, I made this prediction that and well, I have to say I made many predictions. Okay, so I'm only showing you the one. Yeah. So I got this one right, so I'm sorry. But I truly believe this one that within 5 years, so now, over 90% of digital content will be generated by machines, and actually this is the case right now. We do almost 2 million news articles, or we produce 2 million news articles every month. So you can imagine the volumes that are generated using AI. And why is this possible? Because there is in artificial intelligence there is one the learning curve of the machines is slower than the learning curve of the humans. But at a certain point, especially when it comes to deep learning, the machines keep improving so fast that it's impossible to keep the pace. Yeah. So AI is not only like a transformative technology; it's also a technology that definitely disrupts everything that we know now. Yeah. And I will show you how it is. I mean, I'm not talking about everybody losing the job. Okay. I'm talking about how it's going to transform businesses, societies, even governments, war, everything. A very interesting concept about AI is what we call the electrification of the AI. I'm going to tell you my story. When I was a kid, I used to go to my grandparents' house in the countryside in Spain, in Guadalajara. It's very tiny place. I still remember at the time, there were no washing machines. And I remember at the time only women took the clothes to wash in the, what we call the lavadero, the common place in the town where everybody, went to wash the clothes. And I still remember that, and I remember the day that the washing machine came, yeah? Then suddenly nobody went there anymore, But the interesting thing is that the washing machine was the application, but what really make this happen was the electricity, And in AI is very similar, AI is artificial intelligence is the electricity, is what where you have the foundational models, where you have the GPT-3, GPT-5, the BART, all these models, also image recognition models and so on, and on top of that, you have the application layer, which are like the Google Maps. This is an application that uses AI. Narrativa platform uses AI. So, for trading, for Google search, it's an application and uses AI. What I'm trying to say is like you don't really need to know how AI works. You need to understand that you will use applications that use AI. And this is the real change, the real impact. ChatGPT that I believe everybody has used, or well, I'm sure everybody has used here. The model that ran ChatGPT was developed years before, but it was we use it, but until the moment that OpenAI didn't really transform this model into actually an application, a chatbot, it didn't take off. Yeah, so the big change of AI comes when applications use AI to enhance their capabilities. Yeah, and this is the biggest change, as you can see in what we call the infrastructure level, is where all the foundational models run. You have all the big players there. Nobody can compete with them because just to train a large language model, you might spend, I don't know, $15, $20, $50 million. So it's out of our league. So I mentioned before about what natural language processing or natural language generation. This is what we do, even if now we all say that we do generative AI. I want to just briefly explain this. So in AI, in the text technology, let's say, there are two very different areas. Generative AI, which is something I would say quite new, which and the traditional natural language generation, Traditionally, you build content using templates. Remember the Microsoft Word that allowed you to create templates? That's a very basic one. Then you have what we call guided generative AI, which is basically using AI to write content, but very, very specific, small pieces of text that then you put together, which we call guided generative AI. And then we have the hybrid model, when you combine templates and the guided generative AI. This is the traditional NLG or traditional AI for text technology, because that was the only way that you could actually generate context or text that was actually valid. Okay, but years ago we started with. I remember first time we used GPT-2. GPT-2, you can imagine, is the previous model of GPT-3. It was a model that was already able to create content, so we automate product descriptions for a large German retailer. We did about a couple of million descriptions every month. Yeah, but then of course it was very rudimentary and it evolved. All the models you see in the generative AI part are models that are really heavy to train and to run. Yeah, but they have the ability to actually, given a context, generate text, and this is a huge change for the industry and for the journalism. Some of I don't know what you think, but I think ChatGPT and others, they're amazing. I don't know. The first time I tested or I tried, I was like, wow, this is amazing. But, the wow effect, remember, ChatGPT reached 100 million users in less than a week. 100 million users. And they didn't spend any money on marketing. Okay. So it's amazing. And remember, everybody who uses it is the product. So you are training the model to become better. Yeah. So it's amazing. But then obviously it has a problem. ChatGPT is really an AI model. It's not intelligence. It doesn't have ethics, morality. It doesn't have even a purpose. It's just a model that, given a context, will provide a text, which can be used for like really meaningful, let's say, task, but it can be also used for misinformation, for bullying online, and all these things. And it can invent the stories. Yeah, very credible stories. I don't know if you try sometimes, like, okay, write me an essay about this and that, and provide the information about the sources and everything, it's gonna invent almost everything. So again, very powerful model, but be careful when you use it. And then obviously, as I say, it can be used for misinformation. We have been approached several times for that. So there are players trying to do that. And it's a powerful and dangerous technology. Yeah. Very brief note, why I think the models of Google are gonna work better than let's say they are gonna be more useful than the models of ChatGPT, is because Google has a certain representation of the reality, because they have indexed the world basically, and they have run a lot of they have a lot of engineering behind. So when they run these models, they usually tend to base their answers using the Google index, So, and Google index is basically content written by people, and the Google algorithm tends to promote the content that is more trustable. Yeah, ChatGPT is not doing that. It's just a very, very big and fat model that basically you ask questions and it's gonna invent something. So we have to wait and see what is gonna happen, but I think Google is gonna win this one. This is another of my predictions, so maybe in a few years. So generative AI is great. I think it's an amazing, probably after self-driving car is the most incredible technology I've seen in the last years. But it's really bad at many things. As I mentioned, it will invent things. It doesn't have a representation of the reality. But it can do some things, and these are the things that journalists can use ChatGPT for. What we call the traditional natural language processing task, ChatGPT and the other models are just amazing. They beat everything else. I mean, nobody uses what we used to use like 9 months ago. Everybody's using these large models. For sentiment analysis, there is a gaming company. They are a casino, a sports book, and so on, which by regulation they have to report to the authorities every time they get a communication about somebody informing that they have an addiction, gaming addiction, or they are maybe like having financial difficulties. They use ChatGPT or the GPT 3.5 turbo model to actually extract this information. So they read the communications with the clients, and the model is really able to understand if the user, given the communication, if the user might be having any of these issues. So it's very powerful for sentiment analysis, name entity recognition. I'm not going to go through all of them, but basically for journalists it's great because you can process thousands of documents and ask questions. Give me the names, the names of people that appear in these documents. Give me the fines that this company got, or so you can ask questions literally in using natural language. Yeah, our way of communication. Summarization. You don't have to read all the news to understand. So one of our customers, a financial newspaper, very large one, instead of writing content automatically, they just get a summary of the news. So their journalists don't have to read all the news. The news go to them. They get, in Slack in this case, they get a summary of the most relevant news of the day with a short summary. And if they think this is interesting, then they read the full article. So they are able to work faster. But the new uses, this I love it, Idea generation, this is very good. It helps you to get new ideas, even give me different options about this title. Rapid writing, what I call, which is very connected to evergreen content. These models are really good at writing things that are more or less, you might ask write me an essay about the origins of the universe, Write me an essay about the best places, or the best, the effect of cold in humans, things like this, right? These things, for these things, these models are really good. They are very bad when you ask who's going to win the next elections, for example, right? They are able to explain concepts. For example, you might get Something that the media companies do a lot. They buy content from news agencies, and you see their journalists rewriting these stories. This can be done automatically by a machine, so you can rewrite stories. Social media posts. This is used a lot. The journalists write a long format article, and then they want to create a version for Twitter, Facebook. You can have a machine doing that. Yeah. Obviously, translation works really good. I don't know if you have tried, but even the let's say the technology used to train ChatGPT is the Transformers technology, which was a technology created for translation by Google. So translation with ChatGPT is really good. So also there are good news. There are new roles coming. Yeah. So prompt engineering. So there are new jobs coming. Really new types of jobs that didn't exist before. Another one that I didn't add is the automation editor. We know a lot of them because they use our platform. They are basically journalists that they don't write articles. They teach a machine how to write articles. So one of our clients is generating. There are two journalists and one editor. Last year they created 200,000 articles. So it's massive. I will skip this one, and I will talk about one of my favorite topics. Okay, here we go. So one of the problems I see, people keep talking about technology, like, okay, do you think this technology is gonna sorry. So people keep asking me, do you think the technology is gonna be good enough to substitute a journalist, or they keep asking these questions about the technology or business model and everything. The reality is that the only reason why not only this type of technologies, but other technologies are not more mainstream is because of the humans, because we're afraid. Yeah, we're afraid to change. And media industries, among other industries, like pharma industry is very similar. There is a lot of resistance, But if you think about this is, I think it's the New York Times in the 20s or 30s, I don't know exactly. So this is the same newsroom like a few years ago. Obviously, there are differences. Okay, I'm not saying it's the same. But in essence, the job hasn't changed so much, And even I give some classes sometimes to journalism students. They see themselves more like this than like this. Yeah, they are thinking the Watergate or Yeah, it's true, and it's because it's a very idealistic profession. I have nothing against that, but it comes with a downside, as well. So. Why is a problem? Because you might ask yourself, okay, why we cannot be like this, So the problem is that, the industry has changed so much. Before, it was a very predictable business. You printed a number of pages, you know how much you're going to sell it for. You even more or less know how much money you're going to get, how many you're going to sell. You know how many ads you can place there. So it was very predictable, right? Remember, journalists were some of the biggest fortunes in the US, but also in Spain, come from the media industry, because it was after the oil were the bankers, and then after bankers were media companies, now are technology companies, right? So it was a huge business. But what's the problem now with the digital, can anyone tell me what is the business of a newspaper? How do they make money? Ads. So they sell ads? Okay, they sell data, for example. Okay, but this the newspaper media companies that sell data is kind of one part of the revenues. But what is the people talk about the subscription? Subscription is not working except for a few large. So it's if we think like, do they sell ads? No, they don't sell ads, because if you sell ads, then you will be like here, yeah. You know how many you are going to sell, but you don't know. Even you don't. And if you say we sell impressions, yes, but the problem is that the more impressions you sell, the less money you make. How is possible? So what I'm trying to say is like there's no business model in media companies right now, because you really don't know how much money you're going to make. And of course, it's easier to say that now, but if I see, let's say I see this graph like some years ago, or even, this one, I would think like, okay, who are the biggest, in terms of traffic in the internet, probably some of the biggest sites in the world are media sites. So you might think like, great, so I'm gonna start doing also social media, I'm gonna start doing like e-commerce even in my site, everything. So you think like even selling ads, and you might think like this is gonna be a gold era for media companies. But the problem is that the ones capturing this value are not media companies. Media companies are giving even more value because they are posting everything in Facebook, Twitter, and so on. They're not making money. So they are creating the value, but they are not capturing value. Because all the big tech companies are getting this money. But this was not like this before. The big change came when Google bought DeepMind. I don't know if you remember. They paid $500 million for a company with no revenues. They were doing AI, obviously, and then the search engine changed, the ads, the programmatic advertisement came. This killed the business of media companies. Facebook. Why Facebook? Because if you think about Facebook without the infinite scroll, they wouldn't make any money if it's just for friends. They have AI algorithms to predict what they should display, every time to make more and more money. So AI so far is been just terrible for media industry. It's been terrible. And remember what I say, media companies are the ones creating the value. Is Google creating content? Facebook, Twitter, they don't create any content. Media companies. So I think, my opinion, because obviously, again, it's very easy to say that now in this year, but I think media industry lost a big opportunity to embrace AI and to really, something I don't understand I'm an engineer. How can I go to a newspaper 5 times a day online and I see the same news every time? How is possible? I'm not gonna click there. I'm not gonna see anything. So there is a big fight between the traditional, the model with the revenue models. So again, it's something that journalists don't talk a lot about that, but I think this is one of the origins of the problems we have right now. Because the less financially independent a media company is, the less editorially independent it's going to be, definitely. But then we can think like, okay, let's destroy this. And I sit with a lot of media companies, a lot of journalists, and you can see you have the enthusiastic and you have the ones that are looking at you like, yeah, you are not. We got editorials from newspapers saying like, yeah, after the meeting, by the way, some meetings last about 5 minutes because they were not very interested. And after that meeting, they wrote an editorial saying like, yeah, robots will never come to the newsroom. We have like a wall in the office with all this. It's an honor. We're proud of that. But it's true, there is a lot of resistance. I have to say something. It's not like that anymore. we have seen a huge change, and I see like a lot more new companies or news companies or media companies embracing AI, and I start seeing like big change also in the revenues, how they make money, how they attract new traffic. They become more. They keep the editorial quality, and at the same time they use a lot of AI to solve the financial problem. And this is, I think, where we have to be. And this is my last thing. So I don't think it's not humans versus AI or anything like this, or humans versus humans, I hope. It's more about how we can work together, because you are not going to win. It's impossible. It's just impossible, I don't know who's going to be the new Google or the new Facebook, or I don't know how the future looks like. But I know that whatever is happening, and especially with the media industry, is going to happen with a combination of technology, which now is electrified, remember? You don't need to know about AI, you just need to use the applications, yeah? So a combination of technology and human, a cooperation there. People say like, yeah, you will not be replaced by a machine, but you will be replaced by somebody using AI. I believe some people will be replaced. That's normal, But I think the majority of people will just work with AI, with applications, to be able to be more valuable for their business, for the society, for the journalism in general. So I think this is I don't know if I convince anyone. I didn't even try to, but I think this is definitely after 9 years, offering our services and platform to media companies, the ones that are embracing AI are the ones that are thriving, seriously thriving. So I will be very happy to get questions.
Thank you. Thank you, David. So I think we have a lot of questions, but maybe if anyone to ask.
If not, I will ask them. So
Okay, first always is the most difficult one. I don't know if we have the microphone. Okay, but you can start.
He said congratulations. So that's it's coming.
Thank you for the talk. Congratulations for your work. It's very inspiring for who are interested in this kind of things. I would like to you explain something about the project with RTV for the last elections, because it's incredible and I think it's the future of most of the journalism. Thank you.
Yeah, so the Spanish broadcasting television, they had an issue because obviously especially it's a public entity, so they have a public service mandate. So the problem is that when you have like over 8,000 small villages and towns in Spain, you really cannot have a journalist writing about the election results in every town. So they came out to the conclusion that they could better spend the time of the journalists, human journalists, to write the big stories, covering the big cities, the big headlines, and let the machine cover everything else. The good thing about the elections is that it's all about data. There is a company providing all this data in a very structured format. There are sometimes some issues, but it's very structured, and as I say, we created, I think it was around 70,000 news articles not for every article, in total, for every town in total, because as soon as they have like I don't know in English, scrutinio, like they the pools, the results, yeah, like 20% or 50%. Then we started publishing results. Yeah, it was great because my mother could see the results of her town, her own village. It was, I think, a lot of people could actually understand for the first time what really happened in their own town and village without having to wait for the day after to go to the town hall to see everything. Yeah, so it was very. I love that project because obviously it was a business opportunity for us, but especially had a big impact on society, on small, what we call in Spain, España olvidada. It's like, yeah, vaciada. It's like the empty Spain, no? All these rural areas where really nobody pays attention. So we were able to cover news for every single town in Spain. So it was, I love that project. Very intense as well.
Please. Thanks. Thanks for your speech, very interesting and stimulating. I'm totally agree that we are dealing with several exchanges, global and systemic changes, and we need among this exchange to rethink radically our interaction with the machine. And I think that we not only must stop to considering the technology and externality. I think that continuing to create the opposition between culture and technology. In these years, we listened a lot of great narration about the so-called digital revolution, that the technology goes at a particular velocity and culture is not able to follow this kind of velocity. This is the principal narration to reinforce the idea that technology is an externality. That is the first point, and I think that this is another times an epistemological and educational challenge.
Yeah, I think.
What is your position?
I think I have a friend who is a consultant in one of these big consultancy companies, and he said, like, 20 years ago we were selling the digital revolution. Then we started selling that, and then now we are selling the automation. Then 10 years ago, the automation revolution, but we were still selling the digital revolution. And today we are start selling the AI revolution, but we keep selling the digital revolution and the automation revolution, but we are in the AI revolution, which means that machines are able to do things that until now they were only reserved to humans. You know, you couldn't think like, how can a machine write better than I do? Well, in my case, it's not difficult because I write code. That's what I like. Yeah, but
to share a slogan: technology versus culture. Technology is culture.
Technology is culture. Technology accelerates culture. My company kind of tagline is accelerate your potential, and that is the reality. You know, the newsroom of this company I mentioned before is in Mexico. How can 3 people generate 200,000 articles a year? They are not they are not going to win a Pulitzer, okay? But 200,000 articles, they help the media company to free up hands. So nobody's doing horoscopes, weather, or all these things anymore. Yeah, and secondly, they are helping to the company to make money, and they keep hiring people. You know, so technology is culture. Technology accelerates our potential. You know, that's very clear to me.
Yes. So thank you for your very interesting talk. My question is regarding.
Can you introduce yourself? Sorry.
Yes, my name is Camilla. I'm from Denmark. I work for the European Commission in Luxembourg, the Director General for Translation. My question is regarding the business model for media. which is very interesting when you say there is no business model today, which I think everyone will agree.
Yeah.
But then when you use artificial intelligence, it is possible. But what exactly does this successful business model look like? Because are there new sources of revenue when you use AI, or is it simply that you can do it with fewer expenses, meaning people?
So remember I mentioned, well, I think we all can agree that paywalls don't work, right? So even in Spain, the ones with the highest numbers of subscriptions, I don't think these revenues even pay the electricity they use. So I think, remember I also mentioned about the programmatic advertisement. That's amazing. It allows companies to sell their products to their specific target audience, whenever they want, not paying for. They know how much they're going to pay, more or less. They know that if it works, they will pay more, I think the media companies will go back to programmatic advertisement. But what's the problem? That they need scale. You need volumes of traffic, you need targeted traffic, and you need to be able to generate that by creating content at the scale. Humans cannot do that. It's impossible. And I think also another reality is that every day there are less and less people, less, even in the faculties, I guess there are less students right now, than there used to be. So I think AI is going to accelerate the content production, not only fully automated content, but also hybrid, which basically the Wall Street Journal example. The machine is going to create one draft of the article, and then you're going to complete it. And instead of one a day or one every 2 days, you will create 10 articles a day. So the way I think it's going to go is, another prediction, is machines are going to help to scale the content, to create very targeted content, not only why targeted content, because you want advertisers from auto industry, from pharma, from travel, which are the main ones, institutional advertisement, So I think machines are going to allow media companies to create that much content to monetize it. And to be honest, Google still considers the media sites as with the highest authority. That's why all the media companies are trying to have these verticals like autosport or motorsports, and even gambling in their jurisdictions that is legal and so on, because they rank very well in Google. So if they find a way to output like 10 times the volume of content they do now, even 100 times, they're going to start making more money. I see examples of that, making much more money. That's how I see it.
Thank you.
Please. If you can.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting to hear somebody from industry.
Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Gil Soo Han from Monash University in Australia. Very interesting. And you've mentioned one person can create hundreds and thousands of articles. And I'm not sure whether we are better informed and whether we actually know better about the reality, about our life and culture, and be more reflective. I suspect not. And a couple of comments you've made is technology increases our potential. And also that last slide saying we can't fight against the machine, we have to work together. So those comments are very much in line. And as you know, people like us will call you technological determinant. And I think that sort of message is the one given to us ever since Industrial Revolution. And I'm not sure whether those technologies, of course, it has increased our potential and we've done very well, but also it has created a lot of problems and people falling behind. And in that sense, I'm not sure if civilization is actually moving forward or backward. So my simple question is, people like you are the winner in this constant technology demanding.
Yes.
So as a person or as a winner in that sort of situation, aren't you worried about those people who are lagging behind and suffering?
Yes, I actually think like one of the effects of technology change and AI especially is that it's going to create more more differences between the winners and the losers. It's clear. Same way that the Industrial Revolution, you know, it widened the gap between nations. You know, I don't think the Great Britain could have become so big, so powerful without the Industrial Revolution that they started. You know, so this is an effect that is known, and with AI, I mean, 3 people, 200,000 articles. And I remember I mentioned about monetization, how the media company can make more money and so on. So that's a reality, and nobody can deny it. You know, if you have access to internet and somebody doesn't have access, you are going to also be a winner, right? What I'm trying to say is that we need to work to make sure that technology benefits everybody, and even if the governments are spending a lot of money on. I mean, in Spain, you have almost like high-speed internet, like in every single small town in Spain. The investment has been massive, but now the question is, are they actually using it? You know, the problem of technology is not the technology. The problem of technology is that some people believe that they can be like they can leave technology aside and they will keep focus on human-only approach, and it's not possible. I'm worried, but that's why I'm here probably, you know, because I want to. When I go to media companies and I get like a straight no, I'm worried how they are gonna survive. You know, I of course I'm worried also because I want to make money. Yeah, selling them is obvious as well, but I'm worried. I think I left behind this phase of like just making money. I want to make money, of course, because I have to pay a lot of salaries, but I want to also make sure that nobody is left behind by at least coming here, you know, for example, and talking to you and say like, okay, if you don't want to be behind, use technology. The way you use it, it can be very damaging, but it can also benefit a lot our societies. And if you have all the means to use it, but you still decide not to use it, you know what? I have a friend who is an incredible lawyer. You know, he's a member of the Council of State in Spain and so on. And he says like, I'm not going to use AI, not going to use any of this, because he said that Aina Craft is called craftsman, you know, somebody who does like crafts, you know, with the hand, you know, like an artist from the Renaissance, yeah. He said like, and he's doing very well because he's taking the most difficult cases. He's like, he's able to do things that machines cannot do, and I don't know if they will be able to do. But then you have to choose. You cannot be in between. You cannot. Either you are able to build the most beautiful thing with your own hands, being like an object or text, whatever, yeah, or you have to work with the technology. There's nothing in between. There's nothing in between. Nothing. It's impossible because nobody's going to buy what is in between. Either you buy something because it's unique, or you buy something because it's convenient. In between, there is the poverty and disgrace and losing the job and everything. I don't. That's my opinion, of course, but there is nothing in between. I don't think the journalist who is really writing incredible stories all the time about something is going to lose the job. No, but the ones that are like in between, like writing, I don't know, as I say, horoscopes, weather, financial reports, and so on, they are not going to survive. The machine is doing it already. So either you become the best journalist ever, you know, who I want to pay to read this person, or the other, or you have to work with technology. That's how I see it.
We have a question.
Thank you for your presentation. I am sorry, my English I am
Can
learning.
you introduce yourself?
No worries.
Luis Ochoa, Costa Rica University. I have a question about the productions models. I mean development models between a free software, open source, and proprietary software. This is important to the media, for the journalists, the difference between these kind of models?
Yes. I think you know OpenAI very well. So there is the only open in OpenAI is in the name. They used to release all the models to the community. We use GPT-3, we use GPT-2, and so on. Once they saw the money, they stopped doing that. I think the next. I don't think things are gonna improve, and I'm not talking about society and AI models. I don't think they're gonna improve unless they are open source. That's my opinion. Same with Python, is the programming language that is open source. You know, is the most popular. You know, ever. You know. The open source databases. I mean, right now you can start your software company without paying a single license of software. Everything's open source, everything. Thanks to that, the technology, Google released Transformers technology. It's the base of OpenAI GPT models. So I think I think these companies will change. I think these companies will realize one day that either they release the code or the models, you know, to be retrained, or you know, they are not going to evolve. That's my opinion. There is a company, a French company called Hugging Face. They're the largest repository of AI models, open source. We release their models as well, and you know, it's amazing. You know, the community is improving models all the time. You cannot do it if you have to pay engineers to keep improving models. So if the community does it for you, then it's a great advantage. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think time is over, so maybe we have to.
One last.
Okay, one last question. Okay,
Thank
one
you very
last
much.
quick question.
Okay. I'll keep it quick then. I'm Jessie de Koker from Fontes Applied University in Tilburg, Department of Journalism. With regards to the creation of large language models and that have been used to create generative AI systems, millions of journalistic articles have been used without consent. Simple question to you in that regard: should journalistic organizations be compensated in the light of the revenue problem you talked about?
Yes, I think you saw now Twitter is changing the way that is sharing revenues with the creators. So what Elon Musk is trying to say is like, yeah, okay, come to me, stay with us because you're gonna make money. I'm gonna share something. So I think all the platforms models that benefit from third-party content should compensate. The question is, well, it's happening now. I think it was Google is paying a quota to use their content to train models for question and answer modeling. So that could be a great source of revenue. Same way that media companies sell data, they can also sell the content for training models. However, I'm not 100% sure how much content from media companies OpenAI use, because I know they have other sources, but I'm sure they use something, because if you ask something very specific questions about a very specific person that maybe your media company covered, and most likely will, it's not copy and paste the content, but it's gonna understand the context about this person, and most likely it comes from newspaper or something. But yes, that's the future, I think. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Very few words.
Even 3.
We are in a very important and prestigious university.
Not really.
We spoke about House International Project, University of Perugia, and we spoke about the importance of recompose, the complex interaction between human and machine. So yes, I think it's very important that for this kind of transition, we need, and I'm speaking about also at the level of company, great company, we need not only technicians.
That's right.
Not only skills, hyper specialists.
We have journalists in our company. We have medical writers for the work we do for pharma. We have people in communications. So we have a lot of nerds as well. but yeah, it's a multidisciplinary. Actually, I would like to see in the universities teaching a lot about not technology but applications, because
You need
because of this.
Okay, thank you so much. Quite interesting. And see you again here.
Thank you.
Thank you.